You know it's wrong. They breadcrumb you, disappear when you need them most, come back just enough to keep hope alive, and yet, you stay. Or worse, you chase. You're smart. You see the red flags. You even warn your friends not to tolerate what you're currently tolerating. But there you are again, staring at your phone, wondering why their silence feels louder than anyone else's attention. This isn't just about a toxic relationship. This is about a nervous system that thinks chaos is love. It's about a brain wired to confuse intensity with intimacy. It's about an emotional addiction that's far more common than we admit, and harder to break than most physical ones. You're not weak. You're not pathetic. You're not addicted to them. You're addicted to the cycle, the high of being chosen, the low of being ignored, and the hope that this time, it'll be different. Let's unravel it. Let's talk about dopamine. You know, the feel-good chemical. It spikes when you get a compliment, a kiss, a thinking of you text from the person whose love feels just out of reach. It's not love you're addicted to, it's the unpredictable reward. The uncertainty. The waiting. In psychology, this is called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same trick casinos use. You don't win every time, but the maybe keeps you pulling the lever. Now imagine someone giving you affection inconsistently. A good morning text one day, silence the next. Passionate attention, followed by cold detachment. Your brain doesn't interpret it as manipulation, it interprets it as value. As earning their affection. And so the cycle deepens. This isn't romantic. This is neurochemical gambling with your sense of worth. People who grew up in emotionally unstable homes often develop a distorted idea of love. Maybe your parent was loving one moment and cruel the next. Maybe you were ignored unless you achieved something. Maybe love was always just a little bit out of reach. So your brain adapted. It associated unpredictability with love. It began chasing emotional availability like a puzzle to be solved. And here's the kicker, when something safe shows up, it feels boring. Foreign. Almost repelling. Because your nervous system isn't calibrated to peace, it's calibrated to survive chaos. This is why you might push away someone who genuinely cares, but cling to someone who hurts you. The pain feels familiar. And familiarity. It feels like home. You might not be in love with the person in front of you. You might be in love with their potential. The version of them that almost shows up. The one you catch glimpses of in their good moments. The one you believe you can heal, change, fix, or inspire. This is what psychologist Robert Firestone called a fantasy bond, an illusion of connection where you bond more with the idea of a relationship than the reality of it. You're constantly investing in the person they could become, instead of accepting the person they are. You're not wrong for seeing their goodness. But love isn't therapy. And potential is not a promise. The question isn't whether they have a good side. It's whether that good side is who they consistently choose to be. It ends. Maybe you finally had enough. Maybe they ghosted you. Maybe it was mutual, but the next day, the craving hits. The urge to text. The need to feel seen by the one who disappeared. Why? Because rejection reactivates the same part of the brain as physical pain. Your body doesn't just want them back, it wants the soothing. It wants the emotional high that comes with their attention. So you stalk their socials. Fantasize about running into them. You try to win the breakup. It becomes less about love and more about relief. This cycle is brutal: push, pull, break, reconcile. But what you're actually addicted to isn't them. It's regulation. You're trying to soothe a nervous system that's been left hanging. And sadly, you've trained your brain to believe they are the only medicine. You've probably heard the term trauma bond thrown around online, often misused to describe any intense relationship. But a real trauma bond is deeper. It's formed when abuse or emotional inconsistency is mixed with moments of connection, apology, or affection. It wires your brain to associate closeness with suffering. Think of it like this: you feel pain, then relief. Hurt, then comfort. That cycle mirrors the way your nervous system learned to seek safety. It's not the person you're bonded to, it's the pattern. And breaking it feels like withdrawal because, neurologically, it is. Toxic love isn't all pain. That's why it's confusing. If it were only awful, you'd leave. But it's the intermittent kindness, the apologies, the nostalgia, the "I miss you" after a week of silence, that keeps the hook in. Real love doesn't need a fix. It doesn't show up only when you're falling apart. Here's the truth no one likes to hear: connection isn't always healthy. You can have chemistry with someone who triggers every one of your unhealed wounds. You can feel a soul-deep pull towards someone whose presence keeps you anxious, insecure, or unseen. That pull isn't proof of compatibility. Sometimes it's just your trauma recognizing itself in someone else. Sarah, 31, kept going back to her ex, even though he cheated repeatedly. "We just have something," she said. "I've never felt that with anyone else." But what she felt wasn't safety, it was activation. Her body was used to high-stress relationships. Calm felt like indifference. Chaos felt like passion. Compatibility without safety is a time bomb. You need more than a spark. You need peace. The idea that there's one person who's your perfect match can be comforting, but also paralyzing. It makes every failed relationship feel like a cosmic mistake. It keeps you waiting, longing, and attaching too deeply to someone just because the connection was intense. But intensity isn't intimacy. And a soulmate doesn't make you feel crazy, desperate, or small. When you believe someone is the one, you tolerate more. You shrink yourself to keep them. You hold on, thinking fate is testing your patience instead of showing you a pattern. But love isn't supposed to feel like a test. It's supposed to feel like truth. When you leave someone who activated your trauma bonds, the silence can feel deafening. The emptiness isn't proof that you made a mistake, it's your nervous system recalibrating. Your body is detoxing from adrenaline and cortisol. You're coming down from a high that never brought you peace. This is when you'll feel tempted to reach out. To reconnect. To prove you're not dramatic or too much. But healing requires holding the line. Not for punishment, but for protection. No contact isn't about revenge. It's about nervous system safety. You can't grieve a relationship you're still energetically entangled in. Space is the oxygen your healing needs. Healthy love doesn't spike your anxiety. It calms it. It doesn't leave you guessing, it reassures you. It doesn't pull you in only to push you away. It holds space. When you've been addicted to the roller coaster, real love can feel dull at first. But over time, stability becomes seductive. Peace starts to feel passionate. And consistency becomes magnetic. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to beg for attention. The right person won't activate your wounds, they'll honor them. They won't confuse you, they'll be clear. Healing doesn't mean you'll never feel triggered again. It means you'll know what to do when you are. It means choosing partners who support your growth, not your survival instincts. It means learning that love shouldn't hurt. And if it does, it's not love. Breaking free from addiction to people who hurt you starts with one crucial step: reclaiming your boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls to keep others out, they're fences to protect your emotional garden. When you don't have clear boundaries, you leave the gate wide open for old patterns to rush back in. Start by tuning into your feelings. When do you feel uncomfortable, drained, or disrespected? Those are your signals telling you where a boundary is being crossed. It might be a text late at night that leaves you anxious, a partner who dismisses your feelings, or someone who only reaches out when they want something. Practice saying no without guilt. No explanation needed. Your time and energy are valuable, and you don't owe anyone access to them at the expense of your well-being. Journaling helps. Write down moments when you felt uneasy or taken for granted. Over time, you'll see patterns. These patterns become your map, your guide to setting boundaries before you're pulled into the cycle again. Experience is a harsh but effective teacher. The challenge is not to keep repeating lessons you've already learned. Ask yourself, does this person make me feel safe or anxious? Do their actions match their words? Are they consistent in how they treat me, or do they vanish and reappear like a storm? Beware of charm that comes with excuses, apologies that follow a pattern of hurt, or love that feels like a roller coaster. It might be tempting to convince yourself that this time is different, but be honest with your gut. Seek advice from trusted friends or a therapist who can help you see beyond the emotional fog. Sometimes love clouds judgment, but healthy relationships have clarity, not confusion. Healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means learning to recognize what you deserve moving forward. Look for partners who respect your boundaries without needing you to remind them constantly. People who listen when you speak, who don't gaslight or minimize your feelings. Those who choose kindness and consistency over drama. Take your time. Trust grows slowly, not in the rush of passion but in the quiet moments of reliability. Remember, you are worthy of love that feels safe, nourishing, and freeing, not exhausting or fearful. At the core of breaking addiction to hurtful people is cultivating compassion for yourself. Celebrate your growth, your courage to walk away, and your willingness to heal. Self-love isn't narcissism, it's the radical act of honoring your worth and choosing what's best for you. When you treat yourself as someone worthy of respect and care, you teach others how to treat you. Addiction to people who hurt you isn't a flaw, it's a survival strategy learned in a world that sometimes feels unsafe. Unraveling it takes patience, courage, and support. You'll stumble. You'll doubt. But with every boundary set, every red flag recognized, and every moment you choose peace over chaos, you reclaim your power. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. And love. Real love waits on the other side of healing.